You're all stupid as fuck and I hate you for it. But because I'm the nicest guy in the world, I'm gonna show you how scales work on guitar. Recently, I was having a conversation with one of my students and we were talking about all of the different types of scales that exist. We talked about the minor pentatonic scale, the major scale, the harmonic minor scale, the melodic minor scale, and we talked about how all of these scales then have 5 to 7 different shapes. So if you added up all of the different shapes for each of these scales, that's 26 different shapes to learn. And even if you learn all of those shapes, you're still gonna struggle to play them in some keys. This is a hell of a lot of work. And if you only have 1 hour per day to practice, it will likely take you about 4 months to really memorize all of these. And that's not even including improvising with them. And while you're probably going to play guitar for your entire life, most of you are never going to need the Lydian dominant scale, which is a mode of melodic minor. Okay, it's important that we start with the major scale. Think of the major scale as our home scale, because we're going to relate everything back to it. The major scale and most scales in general are made up of 7 notes. In the key of C, these notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The reason that everyone uses the key of C to explain this stuff, by the way, is because there are no accidentals in this key. If we look at the key of G, we have 1 accidental, F sharp. If we look at the key of F, we also have 1 accidental, which is B flat. So for simplicity, we're gonna stick to the key of C. You've probably heard the term modes before. A lot of people are confused by this, so let me make it extremely simple. A mode is just the major scale starting on a different note. So sticking with our notes from the key of C, if we start on D, we now have the D Dorian scale. The notes of the C major scale are the same notes as the D Dorian scale. All of the modes are like this. There are 7 notes in the major scale, therefore there are 7 modes. So now starting off the 3rd, we have E Phrygian. We're starting on E this time, but again, E Phrygian and C major have the same notes. The next mode would be F Lydian. After that is G Mixolydian. After that is A Aeolian, also known as A minor. And finally after that is B Locrian. And those are the 7 major scale modes. Got it? So that's 7 out of the 26. Easy! And this applies to every key. The order of the modes will always be the same. Major, also known as Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, also known as minor, and then Locrian. To really make sure you get it, let's check out another example. This is the B flat major scale. But if we start on C, we get C Dorian. If we start on D, we get D Phrygian. If we start on E flat, we get E flat Lydian. If we start on F, we get F Mixolydian. If we start on G, we get G Aeolian, also known as G minor. And if we start on A, we get A Locrian. Big fun in the sun. Sign up to the 52-week guitar player waiting list for more knowledge and a bunch of cool other shit too. Now, just a moment ago, we looked at C Dorian. Let's relate that back to the C major scale. We can see that our 3rd and 7th are flat. This is because all of the notes of a Dorian scale are natural except for the 3rd and the 7th. There's actually a name for what we're referring to here, and it's called the intervallic structure. The intervallic structure of the major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And because we relate everything back to the major scale, you could describe the Dorian scale as having an intervallic structure of 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. And just to avoid confusion, a major scale can have accidentals. For example, the key of G has an F sharp in it, but the intervallic structure of a G major scale is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The notes can change, but the structure stays the same. Check it out. Now let's look at the intervallic structures of the rest of the major scale modes by comparing them to C. I'll even keep the C major scale on the screen to help you see better. We already looked at C Dorian, so the next mode would be C Phrygian. The intervallic structure of C Phrygian is 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. The intervallic structure of C Lydian is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. The intervallic structure of C Mixolydian is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. The intervallic structure of C Aeolian is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. And the intervallic structure of C Locrian is 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Now you know how each mode relates back to the major scale. It's also worth mentioning that all of those different C scales came from different keys. Here's a quick test. Can you figure out which major scale C Lydian comes from? All of the notes are natural except for F. We have an F sharp. Now, which major scale has an F sharp in it? It's G! Gold star for you if you got that right. And if you didn't, get off the cigarettes! Hopefully by this point you now understand intervallic structures. If not, then you may want to watch this video 3 times because on average, us humans only retain 30% of new information. Now let's look at the pentatonic shapes. The C major pentatonic scale has the notes C, D, E, G, and A, which is an intervallic structure of 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I personally like to refer to each pentatonic shape based on which major scale mode it comes from. For example, the major pentatonic scale comes from the major scale. It's just missing 2 notes. It's like a skeleton. This naming convention really pisses people off, but I'm not even mad. Next, we'd have D Dorian pentatonic. After that, we have E Phrygian pentatonic. Next, we have G Mixolydian pentatonic. And then finally, we have A minor pentatonic, which happens to be the scale that everybody starts with. So that's 12 out of the 26 scales now covered. Easy! I'm sorry to report that I will not be covering the harmonic minor modes and the melodic minor modes in this video because with the amount of information I've just thrown at you, it's gonna take some time to process everything. But if this video does well and a lot of you want me to go over those too, I will. If you'd like more help with this stuff, consider enrolling in 52-Week Guitar Player. I created this guitar program in 2019, and since then, it's become the best guitar program on the internet. If you'd like to talk with myself or another professional, you can do that in one of our 5 live streams that happen every week through Zoom. Also, every time you post a video in the group, you'll receive feedback from a pro in video form a minimum of 24 hours after you post it. We have a highly organized lesson curriculum as well that will tell you exactly what to practice, when to move on, and why you're doing it. The curriculum builds on itself and solves your problem of having no structure. 52-Week Guitar Player is currently closed for enrollment until mid-June, and we only accept 100 new students every time we open. Sign up to the waiting list now! You have nothing to lose by signing up to the waiting list, and this will secure your spot in line. Now just leave!